What's good, Commanders fans? I am sounding a little bit better here. So there is more Sam Howell news here. Some more teams are reportedly interested. So it's kind of like you got to take some of these reports with a grain of salt. Honestly, it is rumor season, and the combine's coming up. So a lot of things are going to come out. A lot of smoke, a lot of fire is going to come out. A lot of stuff, just a lot of news, stuff with the draft as well. So I'm going to read each report here, or each report that has come out, or each report that has basically been tweeted out in the last couple hours here about Sam Howell. There was some stuff that came out last week that I already made a video about too. I do want to talk about Eric Bieniemy briefly too. He is now going to be the associate head coach with UCLA, and that's unfortunate, man, to the point where he couldn't even get a job in the NFL. That's just unfortunate, for him to come to basically to be an offensive coordinator or offensive coordinator of the year with the Chiefs, and then win Super Bowl after Super Bowl. Then come here, it doesn't work out. He didn't do a good job, I'll be honest. To be objective, of course, I said this all season. He didn't do a good job. And I'm just being honest. And dropped Sam back way too many times, didn't run the ball. But we'll get to Eric Bieniemy towards the end of the video. It was underwhelming, was a disappointing hire for sure. It wasn't in the best situation either, I'll be honest. Coming to a situation with a young quarterback, coming from Pat Mahomes to Sam Howell. Sam Howell is a solid quarterback, but he's a young quarterback where you just had to develop him. The offensive line wasn't good either. And coming from a championship team like the Chiefs to here, you knew it was going to be an uphill battle. He just didn't adjust to his players. But we'll talk about him a little bit later. So this one is, I don't know how true this one is, but this one, the tweet said, according to NEP Insider, who is Justin Ramos, it says Sam Howell is gathering trade interest from multiple NFL teams, including the Jets and the Patriots. The Patriots will be speaking to the Commanders during the NFL Combine regarding a trade for the 23-year-old. The Jets are. I don't know why this tweet's not coming up. Oh yes, the Jets are reportedly looking for a veteran backup quarterback for Aaron Rodgers. I think it would be good for him to learn under Aaron Rodgers if Aaron Rodgers is willing to mentor him or teach him or whatever. I think that would be good for Sam Howell to sit behind him. You saw how good that was for Jordan Love. Jordan Love has done a good job after sitting behind Aaron Rodgers for a couple years. Maybe that could happen for Sam Howell with the Jets. You just don't know. Patriots, they need a quarterback bad. We'll see if they draft a quarterback, but with the Patriots, he probably would start. He would have a good chance or good opportunity to start with the Patriots, depending on what they do, if they try to go after a guy in free agency or not. This one is also from Ralph Vacchiano. He writes the article. He says, multiple NFL sources believe several teams would be interested in trading for Sam Howell if he is made available by the Commanders. Washington could potentially get back a third-round pick. Another report, I don't know how true this one. This one says the Rams could be in the mix too. They already have Matt Stafford, so he would be learning from Matt Stafford, developing behind him. They did get Carson Wentz, but we'll see if they keep Carson Wentz. But yeah, let's look at Ralph's article, the whole thing here too. He also says, in the first half of last season, it sure looked like Commanders had struck gold in the 5th round of the 2022 NFL draft with quarterback Sam Howell. By the end of the season, he looked more like slightly tarnished silver. There's value, but clearly a lot to clean up first. So one thing is that the consensus around the league, they think that something's there with Sam Howell. Because if he wasn't good, they wouldn't be trying to trade for him. So that's one thing I see. So a lot of people think he had a good season, that there's some talent there, that there's something they can get out of him. You look at Will Grier, who was in that same draft. Will Greer is not even in the NFL anymore. So that kind of tells you what GMs think. Like, if they didn't think he was good, he'd be like Will Greer. Will Greer, I think I want to say he signed with the UFL, the XFL, or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look that up because I don't want to put out false information, but I really feel like I saw Will Greer sign with somewhere else or something like that. But Will Greer, he's not even in. I don't think he's going to be in the NFL much longer because he just hasn't really. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Matt Corral. Matt Corral is the one that has just struggled. He just has not gotten. He's struggled in the league and injuries and whatnot. But Matt Corral, you look at Matt Corral, nobody's really trading for him. Nobody's really looking for him at all. And that's my point. Out of the quarterbacks in his class, I think he's looked just as good as Kenny Pickett, if not better, to be honest with you. And he's had some really good. Sam had some really good games. The Eagles game, he had a good game. The Broncos second half, he had a good game. The Patriots game, he had a good game. The Seahawks game, he had a good game. 3 touchdowns, no picks. Led us down the field. Like we had a chance to go into overtime and win that game if it wasn't for the defense being so bad. So he had some really good games. Both Eagles games, like I said, he had some really good games. So he showed how talented he was. Then he hit that wall, punch drunk, too many sacks, too many hits, being dropped back too much. The Dolphins game, he had a really bad game. The Bills game, he had a really bad game. Giants game, he had a bad game. The rest of the Jets, got benched. He deserved to be benched. The Rams game, he got benched. He deserved to be benched. He just wasn't seeing Terry down the field. When Jacoby came in the game, we were just a different team. Terry McLaurin was getting the ball down the field and whatnot. It was just a big difference in the game when Jacoby came in the second half. And like I said, Eric Bieniemy didn't do him any favors, dropping him back so much. 3rd and 1 shotgun runs, 4th and 1 shotgun runs. Offensive line wasn't great either, but he does hold on to the ball for a long time. And that's kind of what makes him good, too, sometimes when he's able to find guys downfield when he's holding on to the ball and navigating and make something happen, make something shake. But sometimes he gets himself in trouble. And he was just seeing ghosts out there towards the end of the season. And I thought he was awful to the point where I was like, yeah, he needs to be benched. And I wanted to see Jacoby. I just wanted to see how the offense looked. But to make a long story short here, I think it's a good thing that teams are interested and maybe they do see something that they can work with. And I do think if he was a first-round pick, then, of course, I think the Commanders would take more time with him and whatnot. But he's a 5th-round pick, and it's just kind of different. But he just didn't play well towards the end of the year. And they have the 2nd pick of the draft. You got to draft a quarterback. It is what it is. You cannot take another chance on Sam and be like, oh, let's see what he got. And keeping him as a backup when other teams are potentially offering you a 3rd-round pick or even a 4th round. If it was a 4th or even if it's the 4th or 5th, personally, I'm taking it for Sam. I really am, because you're drafting either Jaden Daniels or Drake May. And you can it's hard to find a backup, but I already said I would potentially look at Tyrod Taylor with a connection with Anthony Lynn. I would have Jaden Daniels and Tyrod Taylor, or Drake May and Tyrod Taylor. That would be my quarterback room. Or maybe even just keeping Jacoby Brissett as a good backup and a good mentor to whoever comes in here as a rookie quarterback. But Sam, I personally, you look at some of the trades that happened. We traded the 5th for Kyle Allen. Trey Lance just got traded for a 4th. So I don't really see them getting a 3rd for him. I don't see he hasn't done enough to get a 3rd. Like Josh Rosen was a 1st round. He got traded for a 2nd. That's because he was a 1st round pick. You're not going to get a 3rd round pick for a 5th round pick that threw 21 picks, that led the league in interceptions. You're just not going to get a 3rd round pick. I don't see that happening. So the article's nice and all, but I don't see us getting a 3rd round pick for Sam Howell. So it's a new regime. They want their own guy. They want their own quarterback. They want their own quarterback room. So they have no ties to Sam Howell. So I just think if you can get a 4th, even a 5th, probably I'd probably take that too for Sam. And I like Sam. I think he'd be fine as a good backup here. But he's not going to be a starter here anytime soon. It's Jaden Daniels' team or Drake May's team. That's who they want, and that's who they're going to get, and they're going to build the team around him. So I think a 3rd would be great value for Sam, but I think it is optimistic, wishful thinking for Sam. So the article says if it weren't for the regime change, Howell might have a bright future with the franchise, but with the new brain trust taking over and holding the number 2 overall pick in a quarterback-rich draft, it's hard to believe they won't start over with their own elite prospect. The only question is which one they'll take. People around the NFL believe new Washington offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury loves USC's Caleb Williams, but they might have to trade up to get him. And if the Bears are amenable to that, they reportedly set an enormous asking price. The Commanders will surely be happy with North Carolina's Drake May too, and maybe even LSU's Jaden Daniels, but it's really a strong bet that a new quarterback is coming, whoever he is. They'd be wise than to resign veteran Jacoby Brissett as veteran insurance and to be the rookie's mentor. So that's what I said. Either Jacoby Brissett or Tyrod Taylor, or somebody else. Gardner Minshew, he was traded for a 6th round pick, so you kind of look at the value there too. Gardner Minshew had a better season than Sam Howell, statistically wise, and just better, because he had a really good touchdown interception ratio. And you look at Sam, some of Sam's turnovers down the stretch. It's like you can't blame EB for that. You can't. Some of the interceptions he was throwing, like the Niners game, the Dolphins game, the Jets game, the Rams game, he just looked shell-shocked, and he wasn't hitting Terry. So he needed to be benched, like I said. So I'm not giving up on him. I think he played well and showed some good spurts. And I think some scouts really love what they saw in some of the games that he played in, like the Eagles game, and they saw something in him. But personally, I'm a Sam fan. I wouldn't mind keeping him as a backup, but to turn down draft picks to keep Sam around, I just don't agree with that at all. Especially when you're getting a new guy, Jaden Daniels or Drake May, and you have to build around those guys. So I think they should take whatever they can get for Sam Howell. You take that draft capital, you trade up in the draft and get another backup quarterback or something like that, or you trade up and get better players or another offensive lineman. using that 5th round pick or that 4th round pick or potentially that 3rd round pick and getting more talent. So I think you cannot pass up getting some value for Sam Howell, who led the league in interceptions. It would just be malpractice to turn down a draft pick for Sam Howell, in my opinion. So start fresh in lockstep. Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, bringing in their own guy. Start fresh and build around a rookie quarterback. That's just my opinion on it. That's my take on it. I wish Sam the best, and I think he would do really well being a backup for Aaron Rodgers and learning under him or Matt Stafford. All right, let's move on to EB real quick. I give him 2 minutes. He basically said that he was not fired, and technically, it's hard to say whether he was or not. It's however you view a firing. Dan Quinn said they talked. He decided not to bring him back. EB says that he decided that he did not want to stay. So I personally don't even really care. EB said that I have no regrets with the Commanders, contrary to what some think. He says, and what has been put out there, I was not fired. I actually chose not to stay, learned a lot, and that is always a good thing. I don't know how much I believe that. I feel like if Dan Quinn was like, I want you to stay, I feel like he would have said yes and stayed, because he knows that if he didn't stay, he would be going to the college ranks, and that's looked upon as a demotion, that he can't even get a job in the league after he was the offensive coordinator of the year with the Chiefs. Can't even get back in the NFL, which is disappointing and unfortunate. And, you know, he had the rumor where, it's not a rumor, he was with the Chiefs before the AFC championship game, you know, giving them pointers, giving them ideas and whatnot. And I think before the Super Bowl, he's with them too, trying to give them tips and pointers and coaching tips and stuff like that. So he wanted to be back in the NFL. He didn't want to just go back to college as an offensive coordinator. And it kind of tells you what the rest of the league thinks about him and how his tenure was there. Players didn't endorse him at all to get a head coaching job. That's the biggest thing too. Players don't endorse him to get a head coaching job. He just didn't do a good job for the most part. Didn't hit Terry. Terry's running cardio. Didn't get the ball to his best player at 31, fourth and one shotgun runs. It's just no balance. No balance at all. No semblance of a legitimate running. He did. There were some games he had a good running game, but it just wasn't consistent enough. And getting his best players to football. So, and just connecting with the players. You know, I get it. People call players soft and stuff like that, but you got to be able to relate and connect with your players and get the best out of your players. Jahan Dotson regressed. Terry regressed. Why are guys regressing under Eric Bieniemy? It's not just players being soft. When you're not getting the best out of players, you got to look at yourself in the mirror as a coach too. So that's my take on Eric. I didn't like the report when they said he was fired, because it wasn't like that. Like they just fired him like Scott Turner got fired last year. So that was incorrect by ESPN. So he felt some kind of way about it, but it is what it is. I wish him the best with UCLA. I wish him the best in the college ranks. I thought he would have went to Colorado's alma mater and coached with Deion Sanders. It would have did that. We'll see. But, I mean, we already know he's going to UCLA now, but I wish him the best. Personally, I thought he should have never taken a job here, because it was just uphill battle. You had a lame duck coach with Ron Rivera, so the end game was, we all knew how it was going to end here with Ron being fired. So it was a lose-lose situation coming here. He never should have came here. I thought he should have got a head coaching job before coming here. I thought he was more worthy than a lot of people. You know, Jeff Saturday got an interim head coaching job. You've seen Adam Gase get another coaching opportunity when he should not have gotten a coaching opportunity. You've seen many guys get coaching opportunities that should not have been head coaches, for sure, that I'm just thinking off the top of my head. So, all right, you guys know what you guys think about everything. I know a lot of people are torn on Sam. There's a lot of Howlers out here and big Sam Howell fans that want to see him stay. I don't mind him staying. I really don't. If he stays here as the backup quarterback, I'm fine with that too. But I do think if you're offered a 5th or a 4th, Trey Lance was traded for a 4th round pick. If you can get a 4th, I'm fine with that too. I would take it. I would trade him. All right, you guys, hell the Commanders. Peace.